Hello, everyone. We are live. Sorry about the Nordiques hat today. I just had to wear it because I like it. It's a cool
Are
hat.
you are you friends with Marcelo Boo?
No, but I have worn this a lot, and it's funny because like the people really do this logo. Part of it, part of my thinking is I really do hope that if Quebec gets a team again, which I really feel that they will, that we will see the return of the Nordiques uniforms and logo.
Well, when the Quebec Corps announced their bid or submitting the application, there was a tweet out of and I don't know if it was an official jersey but it was basically the fleur de lis that we know
Right.
of the old Quebec jersey, but it was white with a red border, sort of like the hat that you have, which was different because I remember they had the blue jersey with the white fleur de lis, and then it
Yeah.
was the exact opposite, white with the blue. So maybe they'll change the color scheme, but I think they're
Yeah.
making a big mistake if they go the way of Winnipeg and go with a different emblem.
I do agree with that. I mean,
I agree with it, but it doesn't mean that's what they'll do.
well, what I wonder is who owns this thing. Like, I mean, I think that also plays into this in this situation. Like, who owns the original Nordiques?
It does.
I mean, I'm assuming the NHL owns it, right? Which
Yeah.
seems
Yeah,
because
I'm assuming they do too, but you can't assume they always do, right? Because like the city of Hartford owns the Whalers logo, so you never
Right.
know.
so they license it to the NHL to sell.
Right.
So yeah,
I actually think the interesting thing about that potential ownership group is the fact that the Quebec Corps, which is the corporation that owns and that would be the owner of the Nordiques, is also the owner of the Hockey News.
right.
Is that could that be eventually be perceived as a conflict of interest? I mean, they're not going to care. They own both.
No, I mean Newsday. James Dolan owns the Rangers. He runs Newsday.
Right. Well, I mean, it absolutely, to answer your question, it absolutely is a conflict of interest. It's just no one cares about those things. I mean, it's a conflict of interest that the who owns the Maple Leafs too is completely a conflict of interest. So I mean, that's owned by the same company who owns Sportsnet and TSN, right? So
Well, the two companies. I mean, they
right.
own like 38% of MLS and E. So
Yeah. So I mean, that's definitely a conflict of interest. The question is like,
We say it is, and then in the courts it's something else, right? So that's the legal definition of it obviously isn't, or otherwise it wouldn't be.
yeah. I mean, I think the legal definition of conflict of interest when it comes to things like sports has always been sort of not put under the rug, but just like it's not like a conflict of interest of dangerous proportions or anything. Nothing dangerous can happen as a result of this. It's just an opinion.
We've talked about it, like a guy like Charlie Finley. He owned, a part of the Seals. He owned the A's. He owned multiple pieces of different teams in different leagues, like a lot of owners still do.
Exactly. So that could be the issue there. But I think and also the Vegas team. We've heard some of the Black Knights is possibly their name.
that's what it's going to be.
It's going to be that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Bill Foley was interviewed by, I think it was Elliot Friedman during the season when all the stuff regarding Vegas popped up, and Black Knights is the same name as the Army team, the West Point team, and that's what he wants to name the team. So I think that I don't think there's going to be like a poll or fan situation. I think he named the ownership group Black Knight LLC. So it's going to be the Black Knights if it's Vegas.
It's not going to be like the Double Downs. I like the Double Downs.
Or the Gamblers, right? The Gamblers were the name of their team for a while, right?
Yeah.
The Blackjacks.
Yeah, the Vegas Gamblers, Las Vegas Gamblers. Right?
Las Vegas Gamblers, right? With the team that what's his name played on for a little bit there, right? The goalie Brizgala.
Yeah.
Brizgala played a couple years ago.
Yeah, he played for a few games and then they kicked him out.
Right. And then he went to the NHL.
Back in the day, Vegas, I think, had an IHL team, and I remember Cujo played on that team when he was holding out with Edmonton. And Radek Bonk played on that team, too, before he was drafted first overall. So they had a few NHL players. But
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's for sure. No, that's But anyway, I just thought it was kind of cool. That's why I'm wearing the Nordiques hat, just to make my statement that they need to stick with the logo. I mean, there were other Nordiques jerseys too, besides the ones we saw in the NHL. There were older ones that they wore in the WHA that were kind of cool color schemes too, and they were definitely different color schemes. So I do remember Marty Biron talking about how much he wanted to play for the Nordiques as a kid. That was his dream. So I'm sure there's lots of kids in Quebec that have grown up in the same way, So most of them now, I guess, would be older.
Yeah.
Yeah, because how many years ago were the Nordiques there now?
It was 95 that they moved.
Yeah, so almost 20 years.
Yep.
There you go.
I can't. I really, I want Quebec City to get that team, and I can't wait to see the first Montreal Quebec game.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Completely agree.
It'll be great. I agree.
Completely agree. That's something that's going to be must see TV. I definitely hope they keep though. I'd like the Toronto Montreal opening night thing. I hope they keep that going though, because that's definitely one. There are some opening night games. That's the only one I think that's really in stone every year. It seems to be Toronto Montreal.
Yeah.
But I think the Philly Pittsburgh should be an opening nighter all the time too. They need to get a couple more of these going.
I did want to mention, with the Winter Classic presser going on right now, those games are dead. I mean, they're only averaging 56,886 for those games. So everybody who said they're a horrible idea and they're getting watered down was right.
Yeah. 56,000, yeah.
There's my bone of contention, because I think they would have been watered down if we had done as many as we did that one year. What was it, 6 or 4 or 5?
But this year you still got 3.
Yeah, if it's 3, that's fine. And if you mix it around and move it around and get different teams in it, it's
only
cool.
one Winter Classic. The rest are outdoor games. But I get what you're saying. But there's still draw. That's the point. You could even have 6 here, and they're still going to draw. I'm telling you.
It would sell out if you had one in every city every year. It would sell out. I mean, they are really events, and it's a lot like the All-Star Game. And even the Winter Classic is this way to a degree, that they are local events. They're nationally televised, but they really are. When you're in the city where that's going on, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's not just because of it's like they open up the arena for team people can come skate on it. They have teams can rent it out to play on it. It's fun. I mean, there's really much more going on in the cities, and yeah, I mean, I think that the New Year's Day game has its own little thing, and it does separate itself just from the fact that it's on New Year's Day. People are going to watch it. I didn't watch all the outdoor games last year, but I watched the Winter Classic.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
get your passport ready for next year, because I don't think it's going to be the Winter Classic because it's going to be because it's the NBC extravaganza. But I'm pretty sure for 2 years down the road, 2017, that Toronto is going to host one of the outdoor games, because they're trying to get everything for their 100th anniversary.
Yeah.
And one of the things is probably a Montreal-Toronto game at BMO Field, which is their soccer, now football stadium that's near Rogers Center, near the Air Canada Center, which they're expanding to fit 40,000 people, and more than likely that's where going to be one of the outdoor games is going to be, along with probably the draft, probably the All-Star game, and They're
doing the draft outdoors. Is that what you're saying?
There you go. Well, the NFL did it.
Great idea.
The NFL did it, so it's got to be a good idea, right, Russ?
it's a good time of year to be outside in Toronto. Be good.
Here's the thing, though. So is it next year that Ottawa's being rumored? Is that? Because I hear Ottawa being rumored for a game, but the thing is, if they have it across the border, it's going to be the Heritage Classic. It won't be the Winter Classic.
Right. Yeah. What are they going to do? What are they going to play the game on the Rideau Canal? I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Plenty of beaver tails to go around. And by beaver tails, I mean it's like
donuts.
But I do hear Ottawa wants to get an outdoor game. I've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And then they should. I mean, everyone should get one. I mean, I don't think I know St. Louis has wanted one. For the longest time. Where are the 3 this year? I actually don't even know. I know the Winter Classic, of course.
Oh, Minnesota, right?
Yeah, Minnesota's got one, and Forest Field's got the other.
Right. Okay, so there you go. I'm really surprised they haven't gone to St. Louis yet. But they will.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. I would agree with that.
If they do St. Louis, obviously the opponent probably would have to be Chicago.
Well, Chicago's in it every year, so might as well.
Right, but they're that rivalry, and either at Busch Stadium, where the Cardinals play, or I don't know if they want to do some sort of like a college venue, maybe they could do that. But yeah, it would make sense.
Yeah, I agree. Let me turn off all of my binging and banging things, and let's start the show. Here we go. Hello, Hockey World. It's July 29th. It's a Thursday? No,
it's Wednesday.
Let's try this again. Hello, Hockey World. It's Wednesday, July 29th, 2015.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I'm Eklund, and you're watching the HockeyBuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is the podcast where we get together with you every Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock-ish or thereabouts and talk hockey with you and other things as well beforehand. You know, we always have some good conversations, and we always have some fun topics to talk about because it is the summer. But we have some hockey news to talk about today, and right off the top, we had a signing yesterday of that happened right after the show. Even though we thanked everybody for doing it before the show, the Flyers didn't get our memo. They did it after the show, and they signed Sean Couturier to a long deal, six years, 4.3 something cap hit. Russ, good deal.
Yeah, it's a great deal. I mean, think about what would 4.33 get you on the open market right now? It would get you, like, if you spent a little more, it would get you Craig Smith, right?
Right.
And so, but Couturier is way better defensively, and maybe he reaches the same offensive level as Craig Smith. So, you know, Couturier is looking for some security. The Flyers were willing to give it to him. I like the deal because even if he only ended up as their third-line center, like 3 years into the deal, you're going to look at that and say the money's great. And if he turns into the second-line center, you're laughing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got a lot more potential than people think.
Yeah, I agree. To me, there's no downside. I think the whistleblowers that say, and look, and some of them were beat writers. Why did you do it now? Why now? Well, I just gave you a reason why now. Yeah. Why not keep your player happy? He had a good season. It's not like you're rewarding him for a bad season. Just because he didn't meet your expectations didn't mean he didn't meet the Flyers, and that's my answer back to some of the media.
Yeah,
right.
It's a good value. I mean, he's only 22 years old. He's still got 1 year left on his current deal, making less than $2 million. So you're talking about from age 23 to 29, he's going to be making $4.3 million. And if he scores 20 goals, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility, with more ice time, you know, maybe even getting into a top 6 role, because we know he's got that offensive ability. He's just succeeded so well being a two-way guy. This is a good value. I mean, this is like, you know, I think a better roll of the dice than New Jersey did on Adam Larson, who are, you know, the same age. I think it was the same draft. But the thing is that Larson, as a defenseman, really hasn't proven to be that top-level guy. I think Couturier at least is going to be a top-level two-way forward and can step into an effective, say, second-line center scoring, say, 50 points a year.
Yeah, I mean, Couturier last year was really handicapped by the lines he was put on. He last year was really, people were ripping on Couturier a lot, and early
going, he finished very strong.
He did, and that's when he stopped playing with R.J. Umberger. Essentially, I mean, all the time he had with Umberger, he was really had to kind of take defensive responsibility for both of them. And he and Matt Reed suffered because of it. I mean, that was a line the Flyers had together a lot of the year, and they did suffer. Matt Reed's production suffered as well. But R.J. is such a smart player, such a talented player, and just consistent, solid. He's one of those guys who will be a threat. I mean, he'll still be under 23. He could be on that under 23 team, right? That plays in.
Let me look up his age here. I think
right about there. Huh?
He's right there. It depends.
Yeah, because if he's in that area, because
he's 22.
Yeah, 22. So yeah, he'll be on that team.
Yeah, and he'll be a force on that team. And what people in Philadelphia know, and what kind of is exciting for the rest of the hockey world to know as well, is that this assures. Man, my echo is so weird sometimes. Get like a demonic echo. So Mike's logging out to see if he can fix it. What this does, I guess it's not Mike, maybe it's me, is that we get a chance to see Couturier and Malkin, which is a great matchup. I mean, that has become Couturier and Malkin is worth the price of admission in my book. I mean,
oh yeah.
From the beginning from his first year as a rookie, Couturier has given Malkin all he can handle, and it just adds to the rivalry. So it's a really good pickup, and Couturier's numbers are so much better when he plays with half decent players.
Well, what I'm wondering is, and you know, Braden Shen is a restricted free agent at the end of this year. Is this a determination by Ron Hextall of who he wanted to get locked up long term and who he may be willing to move. You've got Giroux as the number 1 guy. Maybe Couturier is penciled in to be the future number 2 guy. Schenn can play wing, but I think he's more effective with his size up the middle. That's my opinion. I think every time he's played the wing, I don't think he's as effective a winger as he is at center because his size is a factor, and I think he's not. I don't think he's ever going to be a 30-goal scorer, but I think with his offense, I think he's better as sort of a two-way guy up the middle. So maybe this is a determination that we can lock up Couturier for a certain dollar amount for this length of deal, and maybe we use Schenn to address other areas or open that cap room up because he's probably going to ask for around what Couturier is getting right now. They need to save money to spend on Voracek's new deal. So maybe they can't afford Braden Schenn when his contract comes up at the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, though, Schenn did play really well on the wing in that second half of the Flyers season, too, when they finally realized he's really not a center. He's not a good face-off guy. He is better off on the wing, in my estimation. But he's a guy that's gotten bounced back and forth. He's going to have to do something this year to make the team want to keep him. Otherwise, he will be one of those guys that could be included in a deal, no question.
Yeah, I mean, the players, when you talk to the players, they have more respect for Braden Schenn, I think, than the fans or media do. There's a lot of players who tell you that Braden Schenn's got incredible talents, and I've heard a couple times that, they wouldn't trade players. When Braden Schenn's name comes up in Philly, I have, players telling me, we shouldn't trade Braden Schenn. They really do see potential in him. He's a streaky scorer for the Flyers. He's always been a streaky scorer. He does show the skills for sure. I do wonder a little bit with Hextall having, been part of the reason Schenn, I was told the reason Schenn got traded out of L.A. was Hextall wasn't so crazy on him at that time. And Lombardi, kind of agreed. So I do think Braden Schenn's a little bit in limbo here. But I don't know that this deal affects it. I think they see Couturier as the third-line center pretty much through and through. And I do agree that Schenn is a winger at this point for the Flyers. I think the second-line center they don't really quite yet have.
Here's something you can put in your pipe, though. Couturier doesn't get much power play time. He had 15 shots on the power play last year, right?
Yeah.
Yet he had 12 shorthanded. So it just shows you if he gets more power play time, he will get more points. He will.
Oh yeah, he'll definitely get more points, and I think you'll see him on the power play. He is a skilled player. He makes nice moves. He's a good breakaway player when he gets breakaways. It feels like that the second the Flyers drafted him, they said he was Jordan Staal, and that they've stuck with that. That's like, to me, I've always had that this is going to be Jordan Staal. The same way Jordan Staal got kind of type casted, and then I think Jordan Staal last year. Well, to see him come out of that role.
He's a prisoner of his own success, Zach. I mean that series against Pittsburgh when he shut down Malkin and annoyed him. I mean, once he did that, okay, now he can do that. So maybe in the minds of the Flyers at that point, they said, okay, well, we got that, so we'll be satisfied with that. But I think he's capable of more. The
biggest thing there, what they didn't like about him, as far as, and this has always been the case with Courier, is when he carries the puck, he tends to dump the puck too quickly, too easily.
Right.
They want him to carry the puck. He's a good puck handler. He's strong and he's big, and they want him to take the puck to the net a little bit more often. If he does that, they'll be happy. But right now he's definitely a play it safe player, which is part of his defensive mindedness.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, here's the thing about Schenn. I mean, his second half was better, but he did have points in the year where he was dead for a while, like they would go 8 games with nothing. And I think that's the worry. And then when you break him down, he's never had like double-digit power play goals, and I think he sort of needs to because, if you want to sort of count his worthiness for the future, he needs to do a little better on the power play because everybody thought he'd be a better slot guy in the power play, and he hasn't really come through in that regard. 47 points, a nice year, don't get me wrong, but that sort of, to me, is like the area that he could really improve in.
I definitely agree there. So in other news, today we had an interesting news out of China. Mike, tell us what's going on there.
Do you have that up?
I don't. I know what it is, but I wanted to get.
That is interesting. You have to say.
I apologize.
No, it was regarding the there was a report that essentially.
Okay, I have it. So Rick Westhead said, Rick Westhead, who does really good reporting, especially on these kind of things, business aspects of things, said that had an interview with a China public broadcaster who says the NHL pledged to send players to the Olympics if China hosts in 22. And I've heard this is not the first time this has been mentioned, that there was something going on with the U.S. I mean, with the NHL and China. I know the NHL has talked to China a lot about going over there and doing some games. I'm having some, trying to spread. Everybody wants China because China's China. It's a big giant market, and everybody feels like, okay, we want to be a part of China. And so that's why the NHL would send players there in 2022. But that would make it sort of impossible for them not to send players to Korea in 2018. So that's what I wonder.
Right now, the two proposed destinations for the 2022 Olympics, I believe, are China and Kazakhstan. And that's not, neither one is exactly a boom for the NHL. So I mean, I'm skeptical.
I mean, the NHL's treated China like it's a boom. Like they really take it very seriously. The NBA went into China, remember?
Well, here's the thing about the NHL.
Yeah.
And I wanted to pull it up to remind myself. So in 2010, the Islanders were supposed to go there.
Right.
And they were supposed to have a 9-day trip. And it broke down when, let's see, what was the reason? I guess there was like something about a donation and whatever, and so that was a problem. And I remember there being a problem with the arena, and so there lodging. What was it? Logistics, including arenas, transportation, and lodging, was an issue.
Yeah, there were a bunch of issues. I remember this too, and there have been a bunch of issues with the NHL, and China's a tough one to deal with because China. I mean, it's unfair to call them tough to deal with, but it is a drastically different culture.
It is.
And the NBA had real problems because they played some games over there, and when they would go to a city, they would get invited to this event or that event, and the NBA players would say, "Well, no, thanks, we're not going to do that. We don't think that that's the best thing. We're not, we appreciate the invite." Well, you can't in the U.S. that would be fine if you were invited to a high school or something like that. But in China, it really is considered a giant insult.
Yeah.
And when the NBA turned them down, the NBA basically got their name was mud in China for a while there. So the NHL has been very careful not to follow that path. And
well, I know there is a Chinese pro basketball league that's been there the last few years. I remember there was a piece on HBO's Real Sports talking about the former NBA star Stephon Marbury, who's like the MVP of the Chinese league. I don't know if there's going to be a Chinese hockey league, or maybe that's what the NHL is trying to sort of plant the seed for.
They're in Dallas sort of practicing those guys, so
Yeah, I mean that's for Korea, but it's
Korea that is. Oh, okay.
But it is the same thing. It is there is hockey being played in China. It's not the level. I mean the level is still very very low, of course. But there's so many people in China. Of course, it's a giant market. But what happens a lot of times is the business heads see these giant markets and they just assume, well, there's all those people, we need to go there. But the culture is so different in China that it takes a lot to get.
I just going back to the Olympic thing. I just don't know. I mean, I understand the benefit of it from a national point of view for for Canada, for the U.S. Watching the games in Sochi, having national pride about the teams. I understand that, but in terms of a business situation for the NHL, they're shutting down their league for 2 weeks. They're risking their star players' injuries. I mean, we talked about this with Dan Petru. He didn't exactly like the fact that John Tavares, had a serious injury in the Olympics. That it was only by luck that the Islanders weren't contending for a playoff spot, because that injury would have ruined any chance of them making the playoffs, because he's their best player. Those considerations have to be factored in, and I just don't know whether the benefit of playing 2 weeks in South Korea in 3 years or playing in China or Kazakhstan 7 years from now is really a big benefit to the league.
It is hard to say. It's really hard to say, especially China 7 years from now,
I think there's a lot of conjecture with this, because I'm sort of looking at, this SI article, and, again, you have to win the bid. Like, they don't know that they're going to even win the bid, so why would the NHL agree to something? And then what if they don't win the bid, and they're showing up to this next Olympics when they don't want to? Like, there's no assurances there.
Well, Russ, if it's a battle between them and Kazakhstan, it's going to be China.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. How do I know that? Unless we're assuming that this is just sort of like a done deal, even though it's not supposed to be. You know, I mean, that's. Don't worry, Echo will be back. But,
I didn't see him dropping off. No, I mean, I just think that, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see the benefit of it. I know I'm in the minority. Everybody, loves the Olympic experience, loves the fact, that, I know that people in Canada, especially, they won in 2010, they won in 2014. So they're, it's a point of national pride for them. I get it. And
the bid's on Friday, right? So we'll see on Friday if they even win the bid. Because if they don't win the bid, then obviously we're not even talking about this.
Right. But if it's, from what I understand, those were the most accepted two finalists. Which, and if that's the case, I mean, then I don't see. I mean, maybe the NHL sees it as a stepping stone into expanding the game into China, and that could be a good thing. But but I don't know.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. Okay, and they sort of do touch on it in the article, but probably not enough. Who knows if that's what the players want? Like, the new CBA will be decided before those games.
Yeah. Well, in the past, the players have always wanted to go to the Olympics.
Right. In the past, but we don't know if that's going to change.
Well, the World Cup of Hockey, we don't know what that'll do. I still think the Olympics are the Olympics. I still think they're going to want to go.
It's funny. Go ahead, Ak, I'm sorry.
And I also have heard, Alaska has tried to get in on this too. That they want to host the Winter Olympics in Alaska. I mean, they might not be ready for 2022, but I heard for 2026, perhaps.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up the CBA, Russ, because it just seems like yesterday that the lockout was going on. But I saw someone comment about the fact that with the Derek Stepan contract, it was front loaded. I think he was making $8 million the first couple of years, and the year that the CBA expires, he gets $3 million as the signing bonus in July, and his base salary is the lowest in the year that there's a potential lockout. So already, agents and players are looking forward to 2020.
Oh, happy days are here again, Mike.
Yeah,
we really have to can we please not discuss this for at least 3 more years?
Yes, I say big deal because I saw those same posts, and my feeling is I don't even want to talk about it.
No, who in their right mind? I mean, we just went. I mean, it's funny because I just talked to.
I'll tell you, if you want to know who sent out the tweet, I'll tell you who was in their mind who did it.
I saw who did it too. Yes.
But the point is,
some people are getting. I mean, and for the first time, I felt a little bit sorry for this person, realizing that they probably are
carrying water,
being forced to do everything for their for TSN right now because. But yeah, I think that it's a little crazy. I just think the whole thing is, I mean, God help us,
the last thing fans want to talk about or hear about, and even the media really shouldn't want to talk about or hear about it right now.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm just saying.
I'm glad you brought it up because I just so we can talk about how we're not going to talk about it because I think that that's a good thing.
Okay, let's talk about the Leafs a little more now.
We'll talk about not talking about it. Yeah, Lordy. All right, Russ, you're going to log out because of the evilness. See if you can come back, see if that fixes it. We have our fun day with Google today. Other news too. Former U.S. Olympic goalie Jim Craig is putting his stuff up for auction from the Olympics. A whole lot of things, literally lot of things, for the auction. No pun intended. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and so including all sorts of memorabilia, his jerseys, his mask, everything, and for $5.7 million. I always get kind of weirded out by these things. This does bother me.
Yeah. I mean, he's not the first one from that team.
No, he's following. He's following Eruzione, and here's 2 players who didn't have really an NHL career.
Right.
So
and I think that's at the heart of it. I mean, although guys like Neil Broughton, their career was from 1980 till say the mid 90s, and he wasn't making the type of money that players are making today. So even those players, could down the road have memorabilia that they want to sell. I think Eruzione sold the stick that he scored that famous goal on Michigan in the Russia game. But from what I understand, Craig is selling the whole kit and caboodle.
He's selling almost everything you would want, and and I get it. I mean, if you have to look at your family, right? You moving forward and stuff like that. This stuff's worth something. It's worth a lot of money right now. It's estimated whether or not he gets $5 or $6 million for it. Like the auction's expecting to get $5.7 million, or that's the minimum or starting point or something like that. I don't know. I mean, and I don't hold it against anybody for doing this for sure. But at the same time, these guys they have made a lot of money over the years because of it. I mean, that's
Delivery.
God, all right, Russ, go take care of them. Man, obviously, Russ's dog has a very different opinion on this. But I'd say that no, I think that they've made a lot. I mean, Craig and Eruzione still make money giving talks to and giving speeches and stuff like that and they should. I mean, there was an epic moment in U.S. history. So yeah, but this I think there's a lot more to this, and I think we'll hear more about it soon. But I'm always kind of saddened by the whole thing. Part of me gets saddened by it. I don't know why. It's just kind of like a sentimental thing. You wish that they could hold on to it, I guess.
Well, you think of it this way: at least they are benefiting from it.
Right. The person.
It's not like it's not like someone. It's not like the guy who caught Alex Rodriguez's 3,000th hit, who apparently he eventually gave the ball to him, but he was going to sell it.
Yeah.
And it's not his ball, but he hit it, and I'm sure he would have wanted it. But Jim Craig has the jersey, he has the goalie mask. It's all. Right. It's probably stuff that's sitting in his closet right now, or sitting in a wherever, and it's nothing. He may keep a few things for his own collection.
Well, he's giving away his gold medal too. I mean that's the one thing that really does kind of hit me wrong. Like the other stuff is one thing, but he shouldn't be selling his gold medal. I mean, others have. I mean, other players have. I think Ken Morrow sold his gold medal, right, Russ?
I think he did. Look, it's their choice. It's their medal, right? They're giving. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. I just kind of look at the price and say, they're not getting that price. I understand this is maybe one of the great moments in American history, but you still have to find a billionaire that wants to spend that much money, unless the whole thing's worth that and they're going to piece it out. It's not really clear in that email.
Yeah, it feels like anyone who can pay 5.7 who cares enough about Jim Craig and the whole Miracle Nights thing that can pay $5.7 million would feel horrible having his gold medal. like that to me is a conflict. You know what I mean? There's I would if I was a real fan of him.
There's people that would like to have that gold medal, take pictures with it, put it online. I know this is not a thought in your head, but this is what would happen, I think.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, to me, if I had the money, I would buy that. I would.
Example, okay, I'm going to give you an example, and we're all going to vomit by the example, but this is what could happen. So let's say Kim Kardashian buys this, right?
Yeah, right.
And she's going to take a picture, and she's going to have the gold medal, and you know where it's going to go.
Right.
And Rolling Stone will put that on their cover.
Yeah, this has gone really, really interesting quickly. Yes.
Yeah, but we need an awful
big image you've painted there, Russ.
Awful big gold medal to cover that. No, never mind.
And I'm sure somebody out there will be able to Photoshop this together for us in a few minutes and send it to us. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if I would be like, man, take your gold medal back, for crying out loud. I mean, this is such a big thing. I mean, the uniform is one thing, the mask is one thing, all that stuff. That's cool. I get it.
Hey, maybe the U.S. Olympic Committee can buy it from them, or what I'm saying, it's
a lot of money. I don't know if they're spending.
Yeah, they can't afford that. I mean,
they're sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think so. I mean, and because you can't do it for one player, right? In all the situations, so I guess it's just I guess it just doesn't mean anything. I mean, it obviously means something to him, but I guess I don't know.
To me, obviously he needs some money. I mean, that's.
Yeah. But you have enough other things in there to get yourself some good money. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Like, I mean, I am such a pack rat though. I don't ever give away anything. So I'm the worst to say this. I have ridiculous trophies from when I was a kid still that I would never get rid of. So That's
What's
just
your
me.
most ridiculous trophy?
I have a couple hockey trophies from like I was like the best goalie in Beck hockey in 7th grade. I would never trade that. I would never sell that for $1 million. You know, yeah, I got some good things. So you know, I was a
In 7th grade, and then
yep, I was a New Jersey State Teen Arts Festival champion for a monologue, a dramatic reading I did. You know, I've got some weird trophies. So
I got a couple bowling trophies. That's about it.
yeah,
I don't have any. I don't have one trophy.
You don't have you don't own a trophy. You've never won a trophy, Russ?
I have won one. We were in the Little League World Series, our regional one, and we lost the final game. And then if we'd have won, we would have advanced, I think, to the big show in Pennsylvania. But we lost, and so probably for a year they kept calling me to pick up that trophy, and I wouldn't do it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't want it.
So you never got it?
Never got it.
It's like the 72 U.S. Olympic basketball team. They refuse to pick up their silver medals.
Yeah. I would get a call every couple of weeks. When you getting the trophy? I'd be like, I'm not.
So if I brought you a trophy as the best guest podcaster for HockeyBuzz.com, nothing against Dan or Ty or anything like that, you know.
I would accept that.
I may have to give you. I may have to do that because you can't possibly not have a trophy.
The other trophy. That's the problem.
So Mike, you have bowling trophies to your name?
Mm-hmm.
You would sell for $1 million?
Oh yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. Not a problem.
Sell for $100 probably.
No, I'm setting my sights at $1 million, and you know.
There you go. Yeah, start there. So you better hear now. Mike's putting his bullies trophies up online, $1 million a piece.
Room to negotiate. I'm sort of like salary arbitration.
Right,
you know,
right.
Aiming high, and you know the team is aiming low, and.
I mean, you know, I guess it goes to the point where he's had him for so many years.
Yeah.
That now he feels like he could let it go. It's fine because at some point I sell some things I own. There's some things I would never sell, like you say. But
yeah.
At some point, you know, you do get to the age, I guess, where you say, all right, look, it's better to do
just $1 million. This.
That is an awful looking trophy.
I know. I have a couple of them in the other room. I know. I'll have to bring them out sometime. I should put my hockey trophies behind me.
You should.
That'd be hilarious. Oh man. All 41 Florida Panther home games this year will be broadcast in Spanish. How about that?
That's good. I mean, hey, they haven't, you know, how come they didn't do it before? Like they brought the WWE every week in Spanish. You would think you could do a hockey game.
Now, you know, the one thing is, will they have a announcer who does the goal like a soccer guy? But the thing is, he can do that because the way the Panthers score, it's like a soccer game.
Oh, ow.
That's funny.
Sorry.
Oh man, happy 90th birthday to Ted Lindsay.
Yeah, Ted's amazing.
I know, 90 years. Wow.
Well, we should talk about the Zubris.
Yeah, Zubris has been placed on waivers. He's going to be bought out. This is a little surprising, Russ.
He's been like a hanger-on for like years.
I know. I remember when I lived in Cherry Hill years ago, when he was first on the Flyers. I once stood at a Commerce Bank in line with Dinah Zubris for about 25 minutes. Yep. So that was I mean that tells me that was a long time ago that I had a Commerce Bank account. So.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, if you start to think about who some of the players the Devils have had the last couple of years, they were just re-signing guys to re-sign them because they knew that they would show up.
Yeah.
And give a certain effort. But
it's like putting together a men's hockey league. We know at least he's gonna show up. He's not gonna blow us off.
Yeah, think about this. So in 2012, 2013, he played 22 games. He had 9 points. Last year, he played all 82 games. Not last year. 2 years ago, all 82 games, 46 points. Last year, 46 PIMs, 26 points. Sorry. Last year, 74 games, 10 points. Like he just, 2011-12, he had 44 points. That was the last time he was relevant, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I mean, and he's been such a staple for that. This is obviously the end of the Lou Lamoriello era here. It's what it feels like.
Well,
because Elias still gets another year.
Yeah, I saw somebody saying when will Bryce Salvador and Dana Zubris get their invites to Maple Leafs training camp?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen because they don't meet the age requirement.
No. I have heard connected to this, however, that the Devils have interest in Yuri Chalustny, who's still out there. So this could be connected to it. Also, Scotty Upshall's another guy the Devils have looked at. So there's a couple players out there.
Dubras can go play in the Lithuanian Elite League.
Right, definitely you can.
There is no such thing, by the way. I just want to let people know that.
There is no such thing?
No, I made it up.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I didn't know. I trusted you, Russ, and I never will again.
You're not allowed to bid on my bowling trophy.
Yes. There's a little bit of a discrepancy between Bernier and the Toronto Maple Leafs, according to news today.
Just a bit.
Yeah, Bernier wants $5.1 million. Toronto's offering $2.89 million.
Well, this is the funny thing, Eck, is that the Leafs went for club-elected salary arbitration, meaning that they were the ones who chose it, not the player. So they've locked themselves in. They can't walk away from the award from the arbitration if it goes that far.
Even if it goes over 3.8, they can't.
Even if it goes over 3.8, they cannot walk away because they elected to go for arbitration. The Leafs took the lowest amount that they possibly could take for their offer, which was 15%, a 15% cut from what Bernier made last year. He was making, on the second year of a 2-year deal, he was making $3.4 million, and now they offered him $2.89.
Why would they? What is the reason for cutting a guy's salary? When do we ever see that in sports? I have to say that's an idiotic way of negotiating.
I agree.
Honestly, I think, okay, first of all, I don't think the Leafs want to sign Bernier to anything longer than a 1-year deal. He's a UFA at the end of next year.
But let's get past that. Where does he deserve a salary cut?
Well, his year last year, I mean, I'm arguing their point of view. His year last year was nowhere close to the quality of his year, the first year of his 2-year deal in Toronto. He was, I think he was 7 or 8 games over 500. His save percentage was better. His goals against was much better. Last year, his goals against was nearly 3. His save percentage was around 9.11. He
played more games. He played 58 games. I got to tell you something. If you have a 912 save percentage on last year's Leafs, that's a miracle.
That is pretty much a miracle.
I agree,
although asking for 5.1 is also ridiculous.
Right. I think Bernier is a good goaltender. I don't think that he has proven yet that he is a good number 1 NHL goaltender. And this is the battle right here. I think the Leafs are saying, "Show me."
Here's what I'll say. Niemi got $4 million. Don't you think Bernier should get $4 million? If Niemi got $4 million, I mean, I think that's the player I would look at as a comparable here. Like, I think that those guys are comparable.
They shouldn't have been allowed. My contention here is, I don't want to sound like Donald Fear, but they shouldn't have been allowed to put in an offer that was lower than what he previously made.
That's
happening with a lot of these things that are going into arbitration right now, because they're all settling, and they usually always do.
No, but I haven't heard anybody offering a cut.
Russ, the last time that this happened was with Ryan O'Reilly. When Ryan O'Reilly signed that off with Calgary and Colorado matched it, the second year of the 2-year deal was at $6.5 million. And because they didn't want him to make more money than Matt Duchene, they went to club-elected salary arbitration and offered him less, and then settled for exactly what Duchene was making for. Now, I think
that's a lot more money.
Right, but see, the thing is here is that the Leafs believe that Bernier has not proved that he's the number 1 goaltender that they thought they were getting when they made that trade a couple years ago, and they want him to show what he's got. Now, I personally believe what is going on here is they're going to sign a 1-year deal. They're going to try to get as reasonable a contract in terms of money than they possibly can, and then at the deadline, if there's a team that needs a goaltender, Bernier is probably going to be one of the guys who's going to be mentioned as an available goalie. The downside is both Bernier and Reimer are going to be UFAs at the end of this year if they only contract, and then Toronto is in a situation where they're going to need, to go out and find their goalie of the future if they don't think Reimer or Bernier are.
Well, all right, so I'm looking up Reimer now, and he's making $2 million, 2.2. But the thing is, he had a 907 save percentage.
Yeah.
That tells you, I'm telling you, there's very few goalies in the league that you would put in that job and would have a higher save percentage than Bernier did. I'm telling you, there might be like 2.
Russ, I agree with you, but also you have to think of this: do they want to sign a goaltender long term to make saves when they're interested in tearing down and building and rebuilding?
But you have to have a goalie at some point.
I agree.
But you're going to have to carry a real player with a real salary.
I agree, but by the time that they're good, how old is Bernier going to be? 30?
He's 26. So by the time he's 29, 30.
I know. I'm just.
That's fine.
Yeah, because he's a goalie. He's a goalie, you know. So you really want goalies in their early 30s. You know, that's perfectly fine.
I think
it's not an age thing.
I'll tell you who's a deal out there. Not just because I don't want to. We are running out of time. I don't want to stay on this for too long. But is you know, Eric makes me want to holla. In Minnesota. In Minnesota, okay, he's asking for 700. He's asking for 1.2 million, and Minnesota's offering 775,000. If I'm a team, I'm offer sheeting him. This is a guy I would offer sheet at like 2 million. Or I really think Eric Holla is a player.
But you can't offer sheet him once he goes to arbitration.
Right, I know you can't now. But I would have done this, I would have tried this before. I mean, I think Eric Holla is a player. I really do, and I think that I love the guy's speed. I love his game.
And just settle. It's got him listed at 900,000 for this year.
Did it settle? I don't know. I don't think so.
The arbitration, the amounts came out this morning. So if they settled in the last 5 minutes.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm seeing 900,000.
All right, well maybe it did settle.
And that's right up the middle. So.
Yeah. But isn't that still a bargain though for him? I mean, I think
so.
Well, to your point, Ak, I mean, if he's an RFA next year, maybe before they go the arbitration route, somebody does sign him to an offer sheet. But you know, at the point that he's at right now, which I think he's 23 years old, you know, he still has something to prove. So they get him
something to prove still. There's no doubt. He only had 14 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know, but his playing time is not very good. I mean, they don't play him enough. They don't play him in the right situations. I think that if he played in the right, like if I was a team like Arizona, I would go or Nashville. He would really fit nicely in there.
Yeah, but the compensation on an offer sheet is draft picks, and you're not going to offer that guy like that more than a couple $1 million a year.
Well, no, it does. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a couple. It doesn't have to be more.
Remember, we don't know what group he's listed in. Is he a group B? Is he a group C? You know, then the draft pick stuff changes.
Right. I mean, you know, playoff-wise, remember he had a really nice playoff for the Wild a couple years ago.
Listen, I think there's something there. He's only 24.
24.
In 13 games, he had 4 goals and 3 assists for 7 points 2 playoffs ago. So he was a player. He was a factor. He scored some big goals in that playoffs too. So I don't know. I think that the Wild have a lot of talent. Obviously, the Wild have a lot of depth, and so he's sort of stuck. But there are other teams that could definitely use him.
He might get dealt. You might see him get dealt because at 900,000. You know, he might be someone that a team's willing to add at the deadline because, hey, he's a cheap ad, but also because he could give you some fresh legs if he's not playing a lot.
Well, I would agree.
Before we end the show, it doesn't sound like it's going to be a concern going into the regular season, but Brooks Orpik did have surgery on his wrist, and you know, he's not over the hill by any stretch. I mean,
just play with one wrist. That's all.
There you go. But I mean. I think right now, even Mike Green, that their blue line is one of their strengths, but if it's a prolonged injury, that could affect them early in the season.
I mean, look, Ryan McDonough played on one leg. I expect Orpik to play on one wrist.
Yep. Well, and also other news, Slava Kozlov's in jail.
Oh yeah, what did he
do? just from before, you know. But he's officially, you know, that's starting to serve his sentence, which isn't very long, I don't think.
I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. He's spending part of his summer in the Seal Beach Police Detention Center, is according to the article.
The Atlanta Thrashers charged him with stealing money from them years ago. 90-day
sentence for, you know, starting July 7th.
But you said Kozlov, but you mean Voynov.
I meant Voylov. I'm sorry. I meant Slava Voynov.
Kozlov. I'm thinking, what
I'm sorry. Yep, that's my fault. Yep. I really apologize to Slava Kozlov, and yeah, I meant Voynov.
He's on the phone right now. He's like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's really not good.
I hit no one. Yeah.
Really not good.
I do want to tell people I put out an organizational, my summer rankings for the Rangers. It's up on the site. So.
Oh, great. Excellent. Yeah, just check out Sportsology. You got to check it out. It's really good stuff.
No, it's on
HockeyBuzz. Awesome. Even better. Thank you. Even better.
We've got Sportsology for other things. Thank you.
No, definitely go to sportsology.com for plenty of things. Very good stuff. Quick show as always, guys. Thanks very much. We'll be back again tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Enjoy the and of course remember Mike's bowling trophy's up for bids, and I've seen somebody say they'll send you a bottle of Take a Boost for it. So
I do want to tell you I have an update. Slava Kozlov is actually playing in the KHL at the age of 43.
Oh wow! So he's got a much so I guess we can debate tomorrow whether that's better than Voinov serving time.
Better than being in jail. There you go.
He had 13 points last year in 46 games.
Wow, there you go. That's definitely where KHL. I mean, famous Russian players can play forever. I mean, as long as they want to, basically. And
Yeah.
Kozlov's, I really feel terrible for calling him Slava Kozlov. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? I'm sorry. Again, it's the medication that's perfectly prescribed that I'm taking for my back injection that I had yesterday. So I'm a little bit loopy, and there you have it. By the way, saw the movie Pixels. Absolutely loved it. Throwing that out there again. I mean, we talked about it last after the show, but I really did love it. And if you're an arcade person at all, you got to go check it out for sure because it's well worth it. And tomorrow we might discuss movie. We're going to discuss movie sequels. Mike had this idea, which was a really good idea for sure. So
It is a good idea.
I like that. We can get into that for sure. Kevin will be out the rest of this week. Kevin is in Chicago on special assignment, and next week Kevin will be joining us. But he will be joining us from Lake Placid, where he'll be up with the U.S. junior team.
Junior evaluation camp, yeah.
Junior evaluation camp. He's one of the guys he's going to be talking to up there, of course. Is name escapes me, but
Austin Matthews.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Without the buzz, it is just hockey. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Have a good day. Bye.